See it, but I'm not sure.
What is the truck?
Alright, so listen up. So, once upon a time, after the Native Americans had this land, but before Camp Carter owned it, there was a man named Old Man Tucker. And Old Man Tucker owned all of this land. He had a big farmhouse on the top of a hill. That's kind of by that hill we were at earlier. And he owned all of this land. He lived with his son and his dog. And one day he got a knock on his door, and it was a businessman who was standing there in a black suit. And the businessman said to Old Man Tucker, I would really like to buy all of this land from you because we had a lot of land here, and he really wanted to buy it from Old Man Tucker so that he could develop it. So Old Man Tucker thought about it, but then he said, you know what, no, I want my son to grow up on this land, so I will not sell you this land today. So the businessman was kind of upset by this, but he left and he said, all right, Old Man Tucker, I will be back. So the following week, Old Man Tucker heard another knock at his door at the same time. And he opened the door, and who do you think was standing there?
The man.
The same businessman in his same suit. And he was like, all right, Old Man Tucker, I offered you $10,000 for the land last time, but this time I'm going to offer you $50,000 for this land, which was a lot of money. So Old Man Tucker said, no, I really want my son to grow up on this land, so I do not accept your offer. So the businessman was like, all right, well, that was your mistake. So he came back again the following week, knocked on Old Man Tucker's door again and said, Old Man Tucker, I'm going to offer you $100,000 for this land, which was so much money. But Old Man Tucker, yeah, those are pretty cool. What did he say? Old Man Tucker thought about it, and he hesitated for a second because it was a lot of money, but he said, no, I really want my son to grow up on this land, so I'm not going to sell you this land today. So at this point, the businessman was furious because he really wanted that land to develop and make lots of money on. So the businessman said, well, you really shouldn't have done that. Be careful with the mud. All right. So the week after that, weird things started happening to Old Man Tucker. So the first weird thing that happened was one night he heard his dog barking all evening, and usually his dog was pretty quiet, but this night his dog just kept on barking. So he went downstairs to see what was wrong, and he found his dog was dead on his floor. So Old Man Tucker was pretty freaked out by this because his dog was old, but he didn't think his dog would just drop dead. He suspected that somebody had came in and killed his dog while he was asleep. So the following day, Old Man Tucker, it was kind of dark and stormy, and he woke up with a very bad feeling in his stomach, and he was like, you know what, I think I'm gonna go check on my barn full of cows to make sure they're okay. So he went out to check on his barn full of cows, and all of the cows were missing. And written on the wall in blood, or something red that might have been blood, was that you should have sold me the land. So Old Man Tucker was really concerned now because he thought the businessman had killed his dog and taken all of his cows. So he was getting really, really nervous. So the following night he locked all of his doors and shut his windows so that the businessman would not try and do anything bad to him. So he went to bed, but again he woke up in the middle of the night because he heard a scream. And he went downstairs and his son was gone. Somehow the businessman had broken in and taken his son. So Old Man Tucker went out and he jumped into his truck and started to drive after a black car that was driving down his driveway, and because he saw his son in the back seat. So he started driving after the businessman and his son because he wanted to get his son back. He didn't know where the businessman was going or what he was going to do to his son. But he was driving and it was really dark and stormy, and he hit a huge rock and his car tumbled all the way down the hill. And then they never knew what happened to Old Man Tucker or to his son. We're gonna turn left, guys.
What he did? What again? Oh,
He was driving away. He was driving after his son, and his car hit a huge rock and tumbled all the way down a big hill.
So you mean like flipped over?
That's it.
Yep.
He said it's cold far. We're going to the car.
And I am gonna try and take you to the car really quick if you don't want to.
I'm about to touch it.
But the legend goes that nobody knows what happened to Old Man Tucker, or to his son, or to the businessman. Nobody knows that part.
But
of the story.
how did the truck end up here?
I'll show you. I don't know.